Testing 1, 2, 3. Microphone seems to be working. Is anyone out there? It is 10 o'clock at night in Sydney. How do I see who's in here? Them. Yo. Why did it translate yo? Geary Gaming, hello. How do I say this name? Itarian Secret. Itarian Secret. What is going on? I'm using a different keyboard today. I'm also using a different computer today. And I'm just kind of getting my stuff still set up. Sorta. Installing Ghosty. Someone sending love hearts. Thank you very much for the love hearts. Hello from Puerto Rico. Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. So I have Ghosty installed now, and it seems pretty speedy. Pretty happy with it. You missed the previous parts. Okay. I think this stream in particular, I'm gonna try to finalize things, do a bit of a recap. I'm not sure if I want to keep going with Kubernetes, but we'll see. Hello, welcome in, Semi Lori Do Woo. Voice seems to be breaking. I just might sound like shit because my voice is bitrate problems. My bitrate might be a bit high. Normally, I have noise suppression on here. Video's lagging. Oh no. Okay, let me try to lower the bitrate. 6,000 is what I normally stream on. Maybe give it a bit. I don't know if it's going to improve. Audio bitrate's fine. It's better now? Hopefully that's better. Because it was hitting 10,000 before. Okay, cool. Cool. Alright, I think we'll leave it at 6,000 because that's what I normally use. But I just installed OBS again today and it recommended higher, so I don't know what that's... You liked a mentor at your work. I appeared on YouTube and taught more than you've gathered for 5 years. That's crazy. Yeah, so I've got a new PC now. I wish I could show you. Maybe I'll post something up later. But it's an all AMD machine. And I only just got it set up today. I was also sick earlier in the day, which is why I sound like crap. Yeah, it's a big upgrade. Big upgrade. So I've got the Ryzen, I think it's 7 9800X3D. And then I've got a RX 9070 XT. So it's pretty good upgrade from my old PC, which was my old was what was it? i7 9700K and RTX 2080 Super. That was my old one. Yeah, I got it for games, pretty much. Gonna play some games. Yep. So this is all new. I don't know if my stuff might look a little bit different, but what's the pillar behind me? That is Makar from Zelda. Have I decided which game? Well, the vote concluded with which was the most interesting game for everyone? It was I think it was Factorio, or yeah, it's Factorio that won. I am still using Pop OS, yes. GTA 6, it's not out yet, right? I mean, so these are the games that people voted for. These are the ones I'm willing to play on the stream. Elden Ring. Elden Ring also could be good. What kind of cognitive enhancers do I take? None. What cognitive enhancers are available? I would like to enhance my cognition. GTA 6 is in November. Hello, Dan. So a lot of people also voted for, oh, not this again. Into timeout you go. Why Pop OS? I don't know, it's just what I'm used to. G'day, g'day. Oh no, this failed. Why did this fail? It failed because things are still being used. How's the size of this stuff? How many hours a week do I upskill? As many as I can, to be honest, but it's sort of a targeted thing where if I just force myself to do stuff, then it's not terribly constructive, I feel like. I really wanted these to be destroyed by the time I started the stream. Arc Raiders. I've never played Arc Raiders. So basically, after the last stream, I was trying to get Kubevela installed. Yeah, Kubevela. And what I landed on is I refactored the Kubernetes resources that I have. Whoops, this is the wrong folder. So what is it? Apps. Let's see. I refactored this to the open application model. Linux distros Pop OS. My voice hurts a lot right now. I wonder if I can get a picture of what the... Let's try to find the cat server pod, abstraction, trait for routing. Have a shot every time someone... I'd die. I would be dead. Alright, so this kind of shows the refactoring. I guess? Am I applying for jobs? I am actually. Well, I'm also responding to people that have reached out to me. So previously, in order to make a deployment in my Kubernetes cluster with Argo CD, I'd have to upload this deployment, which would put the container, specify volume mounts, do this, do that, blah, blah, blah. And then create a service, create the ports, create the HTTP route, so on and so forth. And now, all I do is this. Tiny bit of config here. Do I like GitLab? I think so. In the learning process, do you use AI to clear up your confusion? Yes, all the time. And sometimes it's wrong, which is annoying. Is clipboard support enabled? Probably not. Like if I try to copy this line, for example, I don't think... Yeah, it doesn't copy it. How do I avoid study burnout? Only study things you're interested in. I kind of wanted this stack to be up and ready. It's not ready at all. I wanted to create an app through the Vela UX. That would have been nice. What roles am I applying for? I'm interested in anything that is like high scale platform engineering type thing. I got to Argo CD in just 7 parts. Yeah, it took me like a week, and each stint was like 2 to 3 hours. So let me explain what we did sort of. Okay, why is this dark mode? I need dark mode. Turn this off. Sweet. So let me try to figure out what I did. We started with Kubernetes the hard way. Try to make this bigger. And then I hated it. Wanted something more polished, I guess. So started asking LMs. Actually, before Kubernetes the hard way, what I did was looked up docs on kubernetes.org or something like that. Just straight docs. Then, what was it? Manually provisioning kube nodes with AWS. Zigzag. If you learn Kubernetes, explain what the K in Kubernetes stands for. It doesn't stand for anything. It's one whole word. Did I try to watch tutorials? No, I did not. So then we went discovered kubeadm. Converted the stack. Started using CloudFormation to provision the nodes. created a token on the control plane via user data script, uploaded the token to parameter store. Worker nodes pulled the token and joined cluster. Pop OS, yes. And then from kubeadm, then I thought, that's right. Tried using Helm to provision pods and such. And then I got super frustrated at this point. Got really frustrated because I felt like I was just throwing YAML at this big mutable mess. And I kept asking the LLM, I'm like, surely there's a better way. There must be a modern way to do this. And then discovered Talos Linux. Replaced the EC2s with they were Ubuntu with Talos. Rewrote the CloudFormation into Pulumi. Used a Pulumi what was it? Library to do the Talos bootstrapping. Hello, Haas. And then what? What was after this? Lots of troubleshooting. Found that, what was it? There was a problem where AWS CCM was a dependency of Argo. Fixed the bootstrap. Argo working. Started deploying pods. And what was the thing? We got stuck, like the ALBs weren't working, or yeah. No, I think that was fixed when AWS CCM was fixed. Logged into Valheim game server as a test. Made a cats server. And then after this, started thinking about how to really platformatize Kube. How did I type that? Jeez. What mouse do I use? It's a SteelSeries Rival. It's nothing fancy. I want to ask, after learning this, can we get remote jobs? With who? Are you trying to work for me or something? So yeah, we're at this stage here. Found kubevela. Learned about the OAM, which is Open Application Model. Refactored existing pods into OAM apps. We are now here. That's been the journey. I use a Pixel 10 for my phone. You should add how you configure them. Little code, not all, only some. Yeah. That is the goal. So instead of defining all this stuff, let's say, let me see, where's the Valheim one at? Valheim server, I think still has like a bunch of stuff because it's, because it's like a game server. It's not really a standard thing. Platform engineer here, never use kubevela. Personally prefer Argo plus or Flux plus Helm. And Terraform Pulumi for infra. Yeah, that seems to be like 95% of what I would want is something like Argo Flux and Helm, and then either Terraform or Pulumi for the infra. That seems to be like pretty good. The extra 5% that I want is I want devs to not have to know about anything Kubernetes. I want them just to put in like a bit of stuff and their app is running somewhere. And preferably, I don't want them to make pull requests to a Git repository as well. That seems to be maybe exactly the last 5% is like turning Kube into an IDP, 100%. That is what I wanted to learn out of Kubernetes. But then I started realizing that, well, I could use Vela UX to add this web interface. But then I thought, well, maybe some companies would like that, but others want like a CLI that they can just send their files to, or so it gets kind of subjective. It becomes a design discussion at that point. So I think at this stage, I'm kind of I know my stream title is Learning Kubernetes Like a Madman, but I feel like at this stage, if I joined a company and they're like, we really need microservices and we really need Kubernetes, I'd be like, all right, yeah, cool, I know how to set that up. But there are some like corner cases that scare me a little bit, like okay, this is fine. So let's say you've created your Kubernetes stack, right? You've created your cluster. Everyone's deployed their stuff. We got Helm charts all over the place getting added, whatever. It's all GitOps, everything. But how often do people completely deprovision their cluster and then completely provision it again and everything works exactly how it did before? Would anyone be concerned that they couldn't do that? Let me see if there's any stragglers in my console. Yes and no. Ask them to say why they feel they need it. I understand, but in theoretical situation, they need it and I'm willing to create it for them. They don't care until there is a reason they need it. You mean for like the thing I suggested where you you can always reproduce the setup, but there are other nuances with networking. Yeah. So the reproducibility is the full spin up and clean down. Yeah. They may never need it. Like most people probably would be happy just they have it running and they're happy to like keep it sort of stateful and whatever. I personally, I'm deeply uncomfortable with that kind of a setup. I need to be able to destroy it. Am I planning to build my own CID operator that devs use to create apps? I don't even know what that would mean, to be honest. I've done a very typical thing that I would do in learning this, and I've gone and just gotten it working, but I haven't learned any of the things underneath that, how it's actually, I haven't looked into CRDs. I know that the YAML files are CRDs, and I haven't even contemplated making an operator Mako Aviation. We went to school together, huh? Send me a message somewhere. Um, one of my clients cried bloody murder that we need full DR planning and quick turnaround on a new region deployment. It's never been used, and we have never had the funding. System's been in prod for 4 years. Yeah, 4 years isn't that long, I would say. You can kind of cruise for like 5 years, let's say. But at my old workplace, we did have like new regions all the time, and then needing to package Damian Markovsky. That does sound familiar. I think I remember your face. What brings you here? How'd you find my channel? So here's a couple things that Atlassian needed. Is they needed fully isolated environments. And, well, that's not really, I don't really have to type anything out for that. But they needed a fully isolated environment. Oh, you found me from my viral video, of course. Can I share my Neovim plugin list? You can find it at my dot files. You can find my GitHub on my profile. If you click here, my GitHub's here. You can find my dot files, and then you can look through my plugins in here. Yeah. So, well, the impression I get now is, you know, I'm thinking, where do I want to take my Kubernetes cluster next? And I'm thinking, I don't know. I did kind of want to test out kubevela UX, because supposedly you can like create a new application from this interface, and it will like set up the container, and yeah, there is no right answer. I did have a feeling that this stream would be the last one about Kubernetes. Play with Longhorn. Isn't that like a Microsoft code name for an operating system? Cube Longhorn? Vela UX is very good. Why do you say that? Distributed block storage. That's cool. It seems cool. You would go deep into Kubernetes networking and security. Ah. Security, huh? I imagine most of the security is around isolation of pods. Blue-green deployments. How to find good repos on GitHub? Don't know. All right, well, what I would typically do in this situation, since I don't know how to figure out any of that, is I would probably go to Gemini. And I would say, I'm embarking on a quest to become an expert in Kubernetes security and networking. I'm particularly interested in Cilium, I suppose, and runtime security, as well as isolation of, for example, in multi-tenant scenarios. Will developers agents replace developers? No, I don't think there'll be any replacement. It's just going to be augmentation. Is this the last one for Kubernetes? I'm feeling like it is. I'm pretty keen to actually move on to something else because we've got a few topics. I know people hated they hated that everyone voted for getting a local LLM, but I've got this little piece of hardware that's been sitting, sitting around, and I kind of want to make use of it. Anyone know what this is? Maybe I should show it a little bit better. Can you name the device? Are there any logos that reveal? Give away hints? No, there's no logos. All right, cool. Yes, it's a Jetson Nano. Yes, you win a cookie. Yes, Jetson Orin Nano. Correct. So that's why I put this as an option on this poll, because it will take you one stream to get a local LLM up. I believe you. And if that's the case, then that's fine. One stream, it's okay. We don't need to do a billion streams on it. So if I get that up and running to my satisfaction, and I can do maybe a little bit of coding locally with some shitty model, then that'll be cool. That'll be a good outcome. And then I can just move on to the next thing. And the next voted thing is learning Bevy, which is huge. That's a huge topic. So that could be like weeks, months. It might get tiresome. Please use VLLM and not Olama. Okay, I'll keep that in mind. VLLM. Inference engine. Is Olama also an inference engine? Is that the correct term? Bro is drinking water. Yes, stay hydrated. Okay, so it's a Python package here. You can't get your LLM to stop spazzing out and having to reset? Damn. YouTube chat enabled LLM that will auto reply to all of the what OS are you using? Exactly. That could be the use case. Is that we get the LLM working locally, then we create a bot and hook it up to YouTube chat. You reckon Olama's better? Are we going to build games using Bevy and Rust? Yeah, that's after we do the LLM stuff. Yeah, we're going to do that. So the faster I can get through the LLM stuff, the better. But in the meantime, shall we study and understand deep Kubernetes networking and security topics? I think that sounds pretty good. Hopefully I can remember it. Olama is very easy. I've actually used Olama on this Jetson. Oh, if you do any serious work, you would use VLLM. What is the difference exactly? Scheduling, batching, cost efficient, inference costs. Light LLM dashboard Grafana. Hi Vasilius, your Rust learning roadmap was very nice and elaborative. Thanks for sharing the approach. Idea can be extended to learn other things as well. Yeah, not exactly, but for a programming language, it's a good approach. Docker version of VLLM. Okay. Were you using AI at Azure? I've never used Azure. I've also never worked at Azure. How am I planning to use Bevy? We're going to learn how to make games, and then we're going to make a game. That will be the plan. What kind of game? I'm not sure. Maybe I'd like to try something 2D and also 3D. We'll make GTA 6 in Bevy. How long did it take me to master Python? What is mastery exactly? I would say it probably takes a few years to master anything. And I wouldn't even really call myself a master of Python. I would say I'm decent at it. I'm decent at Python, the language, but then there are computer science subjects that I probably should study more. You built an MCP for Godot to build a 3D game. Now you're building 2D with Phaser. I think I've used Phaser. Phaser, yes. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've used this. Trying to get Python your main, but you got cursed by Java. Does that mean that all the Python code that you write is like Java-styled Python code? You like making a lot of classes, I'm guessing? Any good resources to learn Rust? See my one of my recent videos on that. Yeah, yeah. Every time someone that knows Java uses Python, they're writing classes for everything, and it's an anti-pattern, big anti-pattern in Python. Yeah, Python likes functions more. You don't know what this says about you that you're watching a Kubernetes stream on a Friday night. Welcome, B Diddy. You're always welcome in the stream. And we're not doing anything super serious at the moment. In case you just got here, we're kind of done with the Kubernetes exploration, sort of. But I was going to spend a little bit of time on the suggestion of Ryan to look into a little bit of the networking and security. I am very distracted. Yeah. Let me read this. I'm going to ignore chat and read this for a sec. So let's see. At this intersection, the paradigm shifts away from high overhead user space proxies towards the Linux kernel itself via eBPF. Traditional kube CNI plugins manage isolation via IP-based network policies. This would be something like Flannel, right? That would be something like Flannel. And then as the cluster scales, it introduces massive latency, linear rule chains. Well, that's interesting because like later versions of IP tables, say NF tables, I think have an ability to do like O of 1 lookups on rules in some way. Anyway, Cilium bypasses this, compiling eBPF filter, I suppose. Instead of filtering by ephemeral IP, it introduces the concept of security identities. So a pod spins up, it gives it a numeric identity. Okay. As a packet moves across the wire, it encapsulates this into the network packet header. Right. Okay. Let's get a second LLM to tell us about that. Claude's busted. Claude is busted. Or maybe it's because of this. Yeah. My dark mode plugin is killing Claude. There's too many style sheets. Let me see. Can I say it's a rule? Functional script languages tend to prefer functions. Are there any? Python's not functional. It's imperative. Lanel doesn't support network policy. That's what it seems like. Yeah. Right. My video fight brain rot with work examples has been incredibly helpful. Cool. What have you learned since then? I guess we'll use ChatGPT. Yeah. Stop the plugin. Okay, we're good. Speaking of Claude, did you watch Nico's video about agentic loops? I think he does a great job summarizing the state of how silly some of this AI stuff is getting. I have been following along with his tweets and his recent interview. But I'm not sure if I've seen that video specifically, but I did see he tweeted about that. Basically, there's like a breakdown of what it is exactly, and it's essentially it's like you're writing a ticket and then putting in a definition of done and sending it off to an agent. Like, it seems equivalent to that to me. But anyway, I'm quite keen for all of the stupid hype and marketing to die down. I'm not sure when people are going to get tired and that they'll just be desensitized to the marketing, So what's Jippity saying about this little snippet? Cilium encapsulates this numeric identity into the network packet header using VXLAN. I'm curious about how it looks in the packet. Key innovations: it separates identity from IPs. Pods are ephemeral. Yep. Right. So before Cilium made this innovation, it would have been a mess. Are you telling me, like, let's just say example, pod gets torn down, new pod gets torn up. There has to be some adjustment in like the old style CNI to make sure that new pod's address is allowed somewhere. Is that how it worked in the past? Because I have always wondered about that. But here we're saying IPs no longer matter. We're hijacking the network stack, and now we're throwing some metadata inside the packet, inside a VXLAN, using VXLAN. I suppose what I'm really interested here is these two things, because I don't. For some people, when you say VXLAN, they know what that is. Me, I don't know what it is. I want to ask this. Okay, outer IP, UDP, VXLAN, original IP packet. Show me an example of the TCP conversation in a readable format, similar to what someone might see in a decoded packet capture, demonstrating the VXLAN portion containing the metadata and then the regular conversation or payload or something like that. Let's see what it can produce here exactly. Let's, why is this in all caps? Let's say the system is robot control box and I have to migrate Dr. Podman. What exactly should I consider or take into account? I don't even know. I don't know. Am I going to keep ignoring that free offer? Where? Oh, this one. Ooh, free offer. It's only for 1 month. They're not going to get me like that. All right. Packet leaving node A. We got Ethernet. We got layer 4. We got UDP. We got a VXLAN header. Why is there UDP? Okay, so VXLAN happens over UDP. Interesting. VXLAN is UDP? Let me see this. It's uses VLAN-like encapsulation technique to encapsulate layer 2 within layer 4 UDP. I've never seen this before. I've heard of it. Never seen this before. How to be a great software engineer? That's a really broad question. I think you need to be more specific. VXLAN addresses the limitations of VLAN for segmenting a physical network. Yeah, this is interesting, man. This is interesting. I worked on a networking team for a long time, but I never actually dug that far into the network stuff. Like, just what I needed to get by, TCP, HTTP, that kind of thing. So we have the UDP packet wrapping the whole thing. We got a header. We got this metadata. That's cool. And then you've got the inside frame with the application data here, layer 4, IP, and physical. That's cool, man. Okay. And then the node that receives it is Cilium intercepts it, and it's basically unraveling the whole thing. That's crazy. Where does it get the security identity from? Usually communication between microservices governed by Cilium is using MTLS. Okay. Is that like with Cert Manager? What are we trying to do today? We're actually just kind of learning, because for those that joined a bit later, we've established that we've set up a Kubernetes cluster to a fairly good point where it's could be considered industry standard. And then I was going to explore using kubevela and a UX to do platform engineering type things, but it was getting a bit subjective. So now it's been suggested to learn more about the networking and security, and that's what we're doing. We're learning. So de-encapsulation. So yeah, so the application is just receiving, the pod is receiving the regular packet. Blah blah blah. The embedded security identity. Let's try to find how it gets the. Let's see if we can actually find it. Let us clone the repo. Is this going to be insanely hard? Maybe. What is Cilium written in? Golang. Oh, okay. Sure. Are you on the new Pop OS Cosmic? Yes, this is the Cosmic desktop. Fun story. As soon as I booted into Pop OS and opened the Cosmic desktop, I got a kernel panic. Because Cosmic desktop and my graphics card were not very friendly with each other. They were not happy. And so I had to drop down to a terminal and update everything, but I didn't have networking. My networking was all completely broken. And I figured out it's because my desktop was plugged into a switch, the switch plugged into the wall going to my router. But, and that's fine, but somewhere else in my house, also another switch. So there was like, I did a TCP dump and I saw a gajillion spanning tree packets. And I'm like, oh, do I need this second switch? Probably not. So then I had networking, upgraded everything, Cosmic's working. So this is, I was using GNOME in previous streams. Now we're on Cosmic. And I like it. It's nice and snappy. So, before I was distracted, we were going to look for maybe the security identity. Code that deals with the security identity. Can we find it in the code base? Let me make this a little smaller so I don't lose my mind. So there's 360 files here that have come up with the phrase security identity. Maybe searching with my eyes is a bad idea. We're going to use Flash, search for files responsible, finding out the security ident of packets sent from a pod to another pod. Hey man, welcome in. If we found out how to be a great software engineer, we would no longer be chased by imposter syndrome. I think you would keep imposter syndrome until you reached the definition, the agreed upon definition of a great software engineer. It seems you can do magic with eBPF. Yesterday I found out I can do auto instrumentation for observability by installing an agent that collects all it needs automatically through it. That sounds like something you could do, but how exactly? Because doesn't the eBPF filter only have access to like packets. Those packets could be encrypted. How do you get all the information that you need out of that for your observability? Or is it really just network level stuff that you're concerned with? Check out kube proxy logs for pod-to-pod communications. Did I run this? Did I run this today? Did I create the stack? No, I haven't created the stack. I'm going to create it. See if our bootstrapping works. Am I using Anti-Gravity Premium? I think I have some subscription for it. Because I pay for Google One, a Google One account. Do I plan on certifications for Cube? I would be interested in a cert, yeah. The CNI is not responsible for the routing rules. It should be kube proxy. What did it find here? BPF data plane. And then Go control plane, IP to identity synchronization, defines Go level structures to interface with an IP cache, manages user space cache of IP to identity mappings. What AI do I mainly use? I would say Gemini the most, yeah. I do use Claude as well, but not as much on stream. So it's got an IP identity cache, which pushes updates to Kubernetes event watches. Let me see. What was it called? BPF overlay. Disclaimer, I don't know C. How many lines? We've got 600 lines in here. Definitions. CIL. Not sure. I use BetaStack Collector. They say leverage eBPF to instrument your Kubernetes or Docker clusters to gather logs, metrics, and open telemetry traces without code changes. Size and resolution of my monitor. It is 37 inches diagonally, and it's 4K. Is it too small, my text? Does it need to be like this? I suppose if you were on a phone, if you were on your phone in the dark, then it would have to be like this probably to even be visible. Thanks, Peggy. Welcome. So, gonna be honest, don't know what's in here. We have a static int. This is a function. Handle IPv6. Not very descriptive. I don't think I'm going to get a lot out of here. Maybe from the comments. Pass incoming packets which will be returned using Geneve DSR. Interesting. Do I have... Let's see. Ooh. I have a little menu here that shows me this stuff. So CIL to overlay and CIL from overlay. So here's the converters. Sil2 overlay. We clear the metadata, store the IP. This is from somewhere outside of this file. Anyhow, that's hard. I don't know C. You just moved from iPhone to iPad to see the code clearly. I think about 50% of people that watch are on their desktops. So when tunneling is enabled, the source security identity is extracted directly from the tunnel header. Makes sense. Defines a tree map, which maps IP prefixes to identities. So it's still kind of doing IP stuff. It's doing it fast. Let's go back to chat and see. Let's see. Gemini was spruiking Cilium quite hard. It's saying that no, it was ChatGPT, I think, that did it. It was saying that Cilium, its key innovation is that it separates identity from IP addresses. That's not actually true. It just caches and then looks up the mapping from IP to identity in a way that is really fast. Let me see if it's going to tell me that my impression is bullshit. So it didn't actually separate ident from IP. It just put them into a mapping using a fast tree and caches so that it's so fast that it no longer matters. And it seems that the cache is updated by watches inside the kube cluster that receive events. Do I happen to use things for voice to text? On Linux, I haven't found a good one. On Mac, I like Super Whisper. Oh, this can also, I can dictate using this too, I suppose. I probably should do that. Where is the start of my question? Okay. It says, I don't know if it's glazing me, but it does say very perceptive observation, and it's closer to how Cilium actually works internally. Cilium separating identity from IP is conceptually true from a policy perspective, but it's easy to interpret it as meaning that Cilium has eliminated IP addresses, but it has not done that. IP addresses are still fundamental to packet delivery. I mean, that's a stupid statement. But the separation is about authorization, not routing. Am I so it's glazing? I'm not perceptive? What do I think about Zig? I haven't tried it yet, but I'm curious about it. I think it's confused. It thinks that I'm imagining that its network stack is not based on IPs. I don't think that's the case. Have I tried using open weights models? I haven't actually, but I'm curious about them. I heard that GLM 5.2 is good, but I also heard that it needs A lot of RAM. When a pod is created, Cilium computes an identity from its labels. Then it hashes to a... It hashes or constructs an ID. Then every node has a mapping. And every endpoint is known by its IP. This to this. This to this. So there's actually two mappings. Okay, IP to identity, and then identity to labels. How do the nodes know? Kubernetes watches. Every Cilium agent watches Kubernetes resources, pods, endpoints, nodes, identity, and services. Computes an identity from its labels. Yeah. But if we want to get even more in the details there, how does it know the labels? I'm guessing that's through one of these. Am I preparing for DevOps interviews? Not with this in particular. I'm just learning Kubernetes because I put off learning Kubernetes for many years deliberately, and now I've decided to learn it, and so I've gone completely, I wouldn't say all in. I think there's still heaps more for me to learn. Entry-level SDE, what's one advice I would give in order to succeed in today's AI market? I would say don't get caught up in the immense pressure to deliver things at a lower quality. I would spend time increasing your skills, getting better, and truly understanding things. I can use Open Router. Is that like a cloud thing? Pricing? Enterprise, okay. Pay as you go. Platform fees. Prompt cache. So let's say, okay, so GLM 5.2 is $1 per million tokens, 3 for input. And isn't Fable like $10 or some shit? Or $5 or something crazy? Solve leak code 200. I mean, it should be able to do this. So it's probably a dumb question for me to give it, to evaluate it. I just want to see what it's going to produce, I suppose. Oh, okay. It's a paid model, basically. Grok Imagine. Don't care about that. Quen Coda. Let's see Quen. Damn. Rate limited. Fable is more like $50 for 1 million output. That's crazy. Oh, okay, I'll look at this later. B. Diddy! You legend. So unnecessary, but very much appreciated. Not expected at all. It's not an expectation. But thank you so much. Enjoy, everyone. You now have access to some emotes. Only a couple. I should add more, but how do I close this? I should add more emotes. You are probably closer. You're probably to 100K subscribers. Am I ready for the celebration? I'm not. I'm not ready. But yeah. So I really need to push out some more videos. To be honest, I've been a bit slack, but it's it's around the corner for sure. So Cilium's watching. So Ryan, I don't know if you're still in here, but were you asking me to look into it because you didn't know, or do you already know and you want me to find out? Pod created, watch event, endpoint manager updates. Followed along with the data plane part 1 today. Plans for part 2, yes. I have a plan in mind. I just haven't sat down and recorded it. But the plan with part 2 is we're going to come up with an architecture, build it in Golang, and it's going to work either as something standalone or something that also works in Kubernetes. I think that's probably what I'm going to do with it. Right, so fast lookups instead of API calls. So it's basically caching in order to solve this problem. Glitch on stream. You shouldn't be having a glitch because I've got no drop frames. But let me know if something is happening. So we've got local cache. Does it use trees? Yes, for some things. It's got a number of things, I suppose. Longest prefix match for IP-based lookups. But endpoint identity lookups are usually exact. Fair enough. You bought a new v3. Which one? Kick, Air, or Node, or something else? And what switches? Glitch is happening across the YouTube comment tab and screen share. I don't know. It could be YouTube itself. Frame tiering? Okay. I will have to review and see what's up with that. It could be because I'm running on a new computer today. I got a new PC. I upgraded, but my video card is AMD, and so I no longer have access to the NVIDIA encoder for the video. So maybe I need to do some adjusting. Am I going to do CKA? Yeah, I'm interested in doing the CKA. I think with the stuff that I've done on these streams, now I think it's a good time for me to like look at educational material. Air V3. I'm actually using that one right now. I'm using that one. I won't unplug it. Actually, I could unplug it. Why not? This one is with Blush Nano switches. And it's got a little magnetic sort of stripe on the back. so that when you put it into the folio, it clips into it very nicely. But yeah, Atlassian trying to disrupt my live streams? Nah, they don't care. They're not doing anything. So okay, then why carry the identity in VXLAN? Well, this is necessary. It has to carry it because when a pod receives the packet, it needs to be able to see if it's allowed, I suppose. Am I going to explain how leader election happens in Kubernetes? I think the leader election is all done by probably. I'm not sure exactly what would do the leader election. It's either the API server or the etcd, or not sure, to be honest. Why do you ask about leader election? Have you had a problem with that in Kubernetes? At the moment, I only have one control plane. Oh, I have no running instances. So this clearly failed. I'm not going to mention my salary. Invalid IP address in use. Well, it shouldn't be in use, so we'll just rerun this. CKA exam is a bit hard. Main focus is on troubleshooting. You got to solve the question in 7 minutes. Have you become certified? Cool thing about OpenRouter is you can use API key in Claude, Codex, or other tools. Oh, okay. Interesting. Yesterday, my YouTube video thumbnails are dancing. Interesting. So let's see. Okay, so what's an example snippet or tiny MVP of a program that listens to these kube events and acts upon them? If it's better to link to docs, do that. How much can senior software engineer make according to me? A range. In Australia, the range for a senior software engineer is somewhere between, say, 160 to 220. And then principal above that would be like, say, 190 to 270 or something like that, I suppose. Did I move my camera up to avoid the watch questions? I'm actually not wearing a watch. And also I got a different camera too. I don't know if you guys can notice the quality difference of my camera. It was 1080p prior, and now it should be 4K. So the lens is a bit wide, and it's zoomed in at the moment. And the thing it's sitting on is like slightly more difficult to adjust. Have I ever used FreeBSD? I have, but not in a professional setting. Is Gemini good or GPT? I use everything interchangeably. I really don't care about the different models. I just, I'm working with the output that that they give me, and whatever happens, I make an adjustment. I'm not wearing a watch; it's just more comfy, I suppose. But you guys already know what my watch is, I think. I have shown my watch before. But it is, let's see, Brightlink Premier. Too shiny up here. Too shiny. Just sitting on my desk, slowly unwinding. Important thing, you don't typically call the watch IP directly. You use client Go informers. Cilium doesn't need to ask Kubernetes questions while processing packets. It's doing it asynchronously, like it's event-based, I suppose. That would make sense. Is this Rolex 450K? No. What do you currently pay for? I'm assuming Claude, OpenAI. I pay for Gemini and Amazon, AWS. Super Whisper is free. Do the leak code daily question. What is it? What's the daily? Is it easy? Oh, it's so bright. You were inspired by my poll to poke. Oh, it's hard. Ooh. Count subarrays with majority element 2. Looks hard. You were inspired by my poll to poke around with local LLMs. You got it hooked up to OpenCode. Cool, cool. How do I feel about these agents? Sometimes get in a trap of assuming they're thinking. In reality, they're just generating tokens. I mean, it approximates thinking. So if you can't tell the difference, does it matter? I don't know why I have this imposter syndrome. It's because you're not doing enough. You need to do more and learn more. And you need to produce and publish. You're given an integer array, nums, and a target. Return the number of subarrays of nums in which the target is the majority element. The majority element of the subarray is the element that appears strictly more than half of the times. Wow, what a doozy. My card is actually an RX 9070 XT. No side quest. I'm busy reading this Golang code. Am I enjoying YouTube streaming life more than so-called professional corporate life? I wouldn't say more. I do find it interesting. I'm constantly thinking of ways to. Oh, you were asking that to someone else. Sorry, my bad. So I'm constantly. My mind is occupied very frequently with like, how am I? What next video am I going to produce? How is it going to be useful? How can I make something quality? How do I get better at editing videos and producing media for like education and stuff like this? And it's actually pretty difficult. Like the other day I sat down and I tried to think about how to do a video about DevOps and how people are a little bit confused with DevOps. DevOps is a cultural movement, but people have turned it into a role. I wanted to do a video about that. And I got stuck in the weeds a little bit, trying to figure out how to structure it and all this and that, how best to deliver that information, you know? It's especially difficult when it's subjective. I suppose, yeah, it's kind of hard. Am I planning to drop structured courses? Not sure. I'm not sure if the effort versus quality versus reward all plays together nicely. Like, for example, there might not be something that I can actually deliver a very thorough course on. Anyhow, let's say we are baby Cilium and we are running this Go code where it has config, and then a shared informer factory. So we've got informers. We're adding event handlers to the informer with cache resource event handler funcs, add function. Wow, okay. A cache with a function with an object, which is an interface. We're asserting that it is a pod type, and then we're printing the namespace and name. Okay. Then, so that's on add, it's going to print the pod. Then on update, it's also going to print the pod. And then on delete, it's also going to print the pod, just with different emojis. Basically, that's what this handler is doing. So we have this handler that's got these functions. Okay, and then we're creating a channel. The channel is literally being passed into the factory. And then, yeah, okay. Seems pretty easy to make something. Why am I not trying for other companies? I don't want to talk too much about my personal career at this stage. If there is any update, it will be on my LinkedIn. Walk through my work setup, IDE, terminal, agentic workflow. I could do that. According to me, how long does it take to become a staff engineer? Not sure, to be honest. I'm not a staff engineer. My programming language trajectory. I started with in a professional setting, I started with PowerShell, and then I learned Python. And I used Python for a good 12 years before I started learning Rust. And around the same time as Rust, I learned Golang as well. But I'm not comfortable with Golang. I'm much more comfortable with Rust and Python. What should I do if I want to understand system deeply? Should I learn low-level language? You should learn how to program, but you don't need to know a language in order to understand a system deeply. If you want to understand a system deeply, let me give you a tip, right? Let's go to a random repo. Just a random Python repo. And there's going to be pull requests here. Now, let's look at a random pull request. Okay, this one's too basic. Let's look at one that has a bit more content in it. If we can. 2 files changed. Nah, it's too basic. Well, rather than digging through a bunch of pull requests, I'm going to just say what I'm going to say. When you get a pull request and it's complicated and you don't understand the change and there's lots of stuff changed, I would argue that you cannot understand it just by reading it. I actually think that's not possible. I think one of the best ways to understand something is, in this example, which is kind of an analogy for a wider system, you check out the branch with the changes, and then you go through all the bits that were changed, and one at a time, you try to change them a little bit. Try to make it do something just ever so slightly different to what the author wants to do. And in that way, you might look at a function that's been changed, and it's like, well, why'd they change it like this? Why can't we change it like that? So you go ahead, you change it like that, and all of a sudden, you've just broken their branch, right? So then you start to understand, oh, they've done it this way because of this other thing. There's like this subtle coupling somewhere else that is not immediately obvious by just reading it. I think the same thing for an overall system. You got to look at all the pieces, and then you got to start asking questions. Well, why is this here? Do we even need that? Can I get rid of it? What happens when I do get rid of it? What happens when I change this? I think you have to change stuff. 7 years in software dev, never raised a single PR. That's there's good things and bad things about that, I would say. What should you learn now, Go or Rust? I know TypeScript and Python. Start with Go and then learn Rust. Never opened a PR. Yeah, that's crazy. You got to be working either on your own projects or you work on a team that sends it straight to master. That's cool. Have I considered to start my own SaaS? I have, actually. I have some ideas for my own SaaS. There are some problems that exist that I would be keen to solve. So let's say we're running this pod. This program's going to print this, blah, blah, blah. Cilium does, instead of printing, it does this conceptually. It resolves the identity from the pod labels, then it updates its cache, and then it updates update endpoint map, IP to identity. When a pod changes labels, it updates it. Yeah. I don't want to mention my idea because I don't want anyone to steal it. Ain't that be cursed rather than being blessed? Yeah, there's good things and bad things about it. All these Rust rewrites are making me nervous. Don't worry about that. I wouldn't worry about it. But I do think Rust is a great language to learn. It'll make you a better programmer in, like, across other languages that you use. That's what I would say. Dive deep into Java and Spring Boot, but did not find interesting projects. I don't know anything about Java. Nice. Nice. Good job contributing. What project was it? Package. Let me see this. We're in the repo, right? K80s. We should be able to find, like, shared informer. Shared informer. Ooh. New shared informer. So, got some vended code. Why does this list keep moving? I don't like how it does that. Okay. External versions, endpoint slice sync, endpoint slice mesh controller. What was my main stack during my time? Fast API, Python, Rust, Tonic, and Envoy. That was my stack, I would say. So here we have a real example of the factory being created. It's getting endpoint slices. It's then making a new controller with a bunch of arguments. Mesh service informer. And then it's returning this controller somewhere. New controller. Endpoint slice. Is this from the vendor? No, it's from here. What is it? What is this? Do I not have an LSP? Oh, my LSP is dead. Is it dead? Yeah. Do I have go please? Oh, okay. Do I even have Golang is the question. Go? I don't have Golang. Install manager for Go CLI. GVM. GVM's good, right? Any Golang people here? Oh, it's written in shell? That's horrifying. ASDF. G. Is that a thing? Go plugin for the ASDF version manager. Oh, okay. Yeah. This seems cool. Is it easy to get set up just for one thing? I'm just gonna. This is appealing to me. ASDF version manager is appealing. I could probably clean up my dot files with this. Yeah. That seems pretty cool. Wait, but it's in Golang, so how? Do you need Golang to get it? No, you get a static binary, I'm guessing. Where's install? Documentation. Okay, homebrew, that's good. I will look at this later. But software engineering is dead? Question mark? Yes, it's dead. It's dead. Avert your gaze. That's fine. Remove any previous. Add environment variable. And then oh, I wish it was in this shop. Was that sarcasm? Yeah. Yeah, it's all loops. It's all loops now. Wasn't there another abstraction on top of loops? Like, I don't know. Don't we? Are we supposed to just be using Claude tag? So we start our computer and we just Slack is our operating system. The whole OS is just Slack, and you just type "Hello Claude," and you give it a vague description of like a goal, and it creates the loop to loop the other agents. But then you see the problem with using Slack to talk to Claude to create loops for other agents is that now the bottleneck is Slack. So you need a loop to do the Slack part too, right? Do we just keep going? Was I born in Australia? Yes. Okay, I don't need the LSP so badly. I can literally just what was I looking at? Was it in here? No. It was new shared informer factory. And it was in what's going on here with my list? Endpoint slice meta control. And then we had new controller with name. Which is defined here. And this is oh, it's very descriptive. New controller with name creates and initializes a new controller with the given name. That makes sense. That does make sense. Yeah. Because, I mean, if it was called new controller, then I wouldn't know that it was initialized with the given name. So it's yeah. This is clear. With name. Yeah. Makes sense. Okay. I'm understanding. Good. So it has a bazillion parameters. Disgusting. But it's being passed the endpoint slice informer. I wonder what it's doing with that. It is taking the informer and then it's adding an event handler. This is kind of what I wanted to see. So C, what's C? Is the controller. The controller, right now it doesn't have a name, but it will soon. We're adding its methods to the event handler. Oh. So it's basically, yeah. This reminds me, yeah. Do all Golang programmers write shit like this? We couldn't add the event handler on the slice, on the endpoint slice informer. We had to pass in the endpoint slice informer here and add the functions here. Oh wait, was I looking at the wrong thing? Yes. So we have here controller methods here, and then on endpoint slice add, on endpoint slice update, blah 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 blah. So then I guess I need to look at this. I'm gonna have a great time finding this. It's gonna be let's see. It's a struct. Is it in here? Struct controller. Oh, okay. Where is it coming from? Controller. I'm in endpoint slice controller.go, which means that it's probably somewhere in this package. So we want endpoint slice, all right, slash, and it's going to be something like, oh, this is a vended package. This is vended. Cilium endpoint slice controller. Cell observer. Where is the controller? Is there a controller? Controller utils. Controller.go. No, that's probably not it. I think the reason why it doesn't show up wait, these are not in the git ignore, actually. Why can't I find a struct called controller? It seems to be a struct, right? Are they not called structs? Is it type controller? Yeah, okay. I gotcha. Agent controller, I don't think that's the one. Endpoint slice controller, I think this is the one. And then this struct would have, what was it? Let me go back. It's going to have on endpoint slice add. Oh, we're implementing it in this file. We're asserting that this is an endpoint slice. And then if it's nil, that's fine. And then more indirection. If the reconciler, if the slice is managed by a controller and should sync, then queue the service for endpoint slice. This is not Pulumi, this is Cilium's codebase. So where is this then? Queue, oh. Queue service for endpoint slice. So then in here, assuming that it is managed by the controller and it should be synced, we get a key. We have a delay, and then we add after to a queue. The controller has a queue. That's interesting. It adds it after a sync delay. That's kind of interesting. But then if we go back to type controller in endpoint slice, God, why is it all moving? Does it then have queue? It has a rate limiting interface work queue. And what does it do with the queue? Process next work item. Okay. So that is all to say that the informer is created somewhere. It's passed to a controller, which is this big God object. The controller has a queue to manage its work. And when the informer factory is passed to the controller, it then also adds in handlers that the controller calls to do add, update, delete things. Fair enough. Yeah, that kind of checks out with what ChatGPT was saying. And this is kind of like a toy example, super uncomplicated example, which makes sense that Cilium would have a lot more going on because it's a big project. If you know what the code is meant to do, try build it yourself and then refer back to what someone else did. That's that is a very good advice. You have a question? Is reading other people's code or code bases, understand and implement themselves? Is that how we improve? I think a lot of people are lacking the practice of deliberately reading code. Most people read code for an objective. They don't read code just for the sake of reading it. It seems like a waste of time. It's not a waste of time, because it means that you get better at reading and understanding code. And that's kind of a superpower if you think about it. These days, everyone's saying writing the code is solved. Agents are writing everything, but you still have reviewers in the loop. So naturally, you should probably want to increase your skill at reviewing. A lot of people say that reviewing is way harder than writing code. I agree. But could it be the case that reviewing code is way harder because no one deliberately practices reviewing? Everyone's keen to get down and write a bunch of stuff. No one's really keen to read other people's stuff. I think there's something there. I think there is something there. You enjoy reading code and understanding the parts of it till it all fits together. That's a blessing. How many years away are we from not ever having to review code? No idea. Would I go CKA level teaching? I'm not sure if I could teach to that level. I've only spent like a week, probably a dozen or so hours looking at Kubernetes. So, there is something that I wanted to reveal. I don't know how many people are currently in right now. Let's see. Let us see. We have 100 concurrent viewers at the moment. So I wanted to reveal that I have a Discord channel now. And let me grab the... You know what? What I'll do, I'm going to put the Discord link on my YouTube profile. It's going to be up here. And I'll do that after this stream. Concurrent viewers. Yeah, technically it's in parallel, isn't it? It's not like everyone's taking turns, are they? Okay, so I feel like I learned a decent amount about Cilium. I think there's probably heaps more to learn. I'm feeling actually very hungry at the moment, so I might actually call it here. Concurrency, control to the viewers. Yeah, my hunger is distracting me a lot, so it's actually making it a bit hard to have a brain at the moment. So what I'm going to do is that I'll close it up. I'm going to then go to my profile. I'm going to add Discord so people can join if they're interested in joining the Discord. And I'll probably do a post separately just in case anyone misses out or people are not here or they're sleeping. And I think I might do a little bit of research on some of this network and security stuff. Maybe I'll do a little video on that. I'm not sure. But I do kind of want to wrap up the Kubernetes learning. So what I wanted to do after wrapping up the Kubernetes stuff is try to make a video that helps people jump in rather than looking at 15 hours of me struggling. I want to make something a little bit more compact. So that'll probably be a follow-up. And then we're probably going to look into the next thing, which is getting an LLM on my Jetson working. Maybe do like 1, maybe 2 streams on that if it's super easy. And then move on to other stuff. So thank you all for being here, everyone. Thank you for chatting. Thank you once again, B Diddy, absolute legend, for dropping 10 memberships. Congrats to people that got those free memberships. And see you in the next one.